work session to order. Item on the agenda, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Palmer.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully everybody can see this ugly mugshot and hear me well enough. If I'm not talking loud enough, just say so. Tonight's conversation is salute the troops. Clayton Township is the second largest community in Stark County. And it's sort of an underlying passion of mine, even though I haven't served, but having extensive family and friends that have served, to get something of a memorial or tribute in Clayton Township. So, apologize if I get a little quivery. I'm just really passionate about this. We'll start out here, and honestly, this video is going to help set the tone for, why the purpose and the intent of the memorial. So hopefully, our audio works very well here. And
3 teens were arrested today for defacing the Kensington Park War Memorial. The destruction includes painted messages against the military and the war in the Middle East. The 3 teens were picked up in the early morning hours after evidence was left at the scene.
Grandpa, something wrong?
Some people sure have short memories, and those who are too young to know need to be taught. Come on, I want to show you guys something.
appreciate everybody's patience and just watching that. What I'm gonna do here is get our slide up. Tonight what I'm gonna present upon our agenda, I've got some special guests here. I want to talk about the mission and purpose of what I'm gonna propose. We're gonna talk through some veteran demographics to help quantify what it is we're looking to represent. Obviously, the next bullet point of a memorial is going to give a little insight as to what we're talking about, design, space requirements, and then some of the other facets of it, from cost, funding, maintenance, vested and interested parties, timetable, future program use. Special guests I'd like to really call out here tonight. We're honored to have here Gold Star mothers, Thea Dryden. She's mother to Stacy Ann Dryden, Lance Corporal, U.S. Marine Corps, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Thea, if you'd stand just for a minute. And Gold Star mother, Kathy Patron, mother to U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant Danny Patron. We've got from Congressman Jim Renace's office, Staff Sergeant Brian Bowman of the Ohio Army National Guard with the 737th Forward Support Company. He's also the Veterans Outreach and Constituent Services representative. And I know we've got some other veterans here in the room. If you would stand, Howard, Cliff, Dad. We also have some Blue Star mothers, and I know Rick, you served, and I believe Lou as well. So I'm doing this not just for everybody in here, but all of those in Plain Township. So if we could just give them a round real quick. Thank you. The mission and purpose, I'm going to propose here, is to create a permanent memorial site to recognize the service and sacrifices of those who have served and those who have paid the ultimate price of freedom. Obviously, this memorial will be in Plain Township, but it's going to be bigger than just Plain Township, because we are the central hub of the county, realistically, as a whole. So, and we don't want to, push people away just because they're not Plain Township. So, a permanent memorial, again, to recognize service sacrifices of those who have served and paid the ultimate price for our freedom. This is a picture from Gold Star mom Thea Dryden with her daughter Stacy Ann. Just wanted to include. I'm going to ask Congressman Renace's office through Staff Sergeant Brian Bowman to help quantify what's the number of veterans in Plain Township. What's the number of veterans in Stark County that we're looking at here? And I'm going to ask Brian just to stand up and talk through where they get this information from, the accuracy of it, because, factually, this is critical information to know, and then where it comes from. So, Brian, if I can turn it over to you just for...
The Stark County numbers are actually Department of Veterans Affairs numbers, and with the breakdown of male, female, that's straight from the Department of Veterans Affairs. They post that. It's a yearly thing that's out there. You can pull through Stark County, through different communities. Plain Township's actually an estimation, and the reason is it's communities over 50,000. They lump them together, and that's just based on 70% of the veterans live in the urban areas, and that's how it's an estimation that 4,143 live in Plain. There's not an exact number anywhere. The Department of Veterans Affairs, they don't have it based on Plain Township. The closest thing that comes is voter registration. However, the majority of veterans, they don't put down that they're a veteran. With those lists that can be purchased, and if you're not registered, then you're also not on that list as well.
So for the sake of Plain Township, that's approximately 10% of our population. If you were to break it down, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, and it's a good percentage that Stark County veterans.
Yeah. So, summarizing the numbers that Brian had provided for us, approximately 29,509 in Stark County, And as Brian spoke to, 70% of veterans living in the urban areas, and that's considered populations over 50,000. Again, the Plain Township makes up, well, I got technically 14%.
Can I go back to
Stark
this
County number?
connection?
Yes.
And I'll actually speak to something. I was a park trustee for the Ohio Veterans Memorial Park. That park in Clinton has over 30,000 visitors every single year. Actually, this year it might be upwards of 40,000. Yesterday there was over 1,000 people there, 600 people with a legacy run. When you have a veterans park, a major veterans park, you're actually connecting with the 29,509, a closer number to that, because again, people from surrounding communities come in. In Clinton, they'll actually come from California, New York, from everywhere. But Stark County can actually, you're really looking at, in Plain Township, if the park's there, other communities coming here. I mean, from the motorcycle runs, from award ceremonies, which are typically done at veterans parks. You have the legions, you have the different posts that will utilize it. And throughout the county, you'll probably see upwards of 10, 15,000 of those veterans that will come to the park. So it's more than just Plain Township when we look at the 4,000 number.
So realistically, we know we've got an asset in our community already. And I mean, even as part of our master plan, we talk about how Schneider is going to be the central corridor, the hub, the focal point because of the schools, the park, the safety center, and so forth. Collaborations with the Parks Trail and so forth. This is a community asset, and it's a way that we can make that community asset all the more valuable, used, and frequented outside of our existing relationships. I've also asked our Stark County Recorder, Rick Campbell, just to give a couple comments in regards to the veterans here because of his office with what's done with ID services and so forth, and you know, seeing the need of the different services, but as well some of the general, you know, feedback on being.
Thank you, Scott. I've been recorder now for 15 years, and you get to finally pick up something that's kind of close to your heart. Veterans across the nation, and I'll speak specifically to Ohio, didn't have a way to identify themselves. And when I was president of the Ohio Recorders Association, I worked with many veterans groups across the state of Ohio to try to get legislatively passed an ID program. It didn't fare so well politically down in Columbus. They didn't see the need for it. So I went back and kind of did a grassroots effort and worked with all our county recorders across the state of Ohio, because the county recorder maintains the DD-214, and it's usually a sheet a little bit bigger than this. If you look in the flyer, we created an ID to put that same information on it that allows that vet to identify their service, their branch, the years they served. Because unless you do 20 years and retire, or you're getting medical benefits, you could have served 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10, 15. You didn't have an identification card. So now they have an identification card. On the first day that we publicly released this, we had over 600 vets in line down at our office waiting to get ID cards. And it was so great. We had World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf, all the different conflicts throughout that. Everybody was talking. We went down to the garage. We carried a World War II vet up the stairs because he couldn't make it to get his ID. Because he just wanted that ID to be able to show, yeah, I served. A lot of businesses will utilize this ID. If they know you served and you have a way to identify you served, they'll give you a discount on your purchases. We just started a new program that we're going to go out to the businesses, so if vets see this emblem on their window, they know that it's a veteran-friendly business, and they can go in there and they know that they're going to accept that card as a way that that veteran can identify himself. It's also used by schools to identify that they did serve for benefits. The funeral homes use that to identify veterans also. So there's a multiple number of uses out there for it. Currently, the coverage of it, and I can hand this sheet out to you guys. We cover 57% of the total population. 6.5 million are covered by counties right now issuing vet ID cards. The vet population we're covering is about 55% in the area in Ohio. There's about 877,000 vets. We're covering 479,000. So it's just a great program. We've issued now down at our office about 2,500 IDs, which is very a good thing, because now we have veterans' addresses. We're trying to work with the state to keep those addresses updated. We're working with our local Veterans Administration to share programs. We have their flyers and vice versa. There's about, like you said, 30,000 vets in Stark County, and they're very active. So, you know, this would be a great thing. I know that they just want to be recognized for fighting for our freedoms. Because without them, let's be honest, we wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't be able to have our jobs. We wouldn't have our freedoms. I'm an elected official. It appalls me that people don't go and vote. You hear countries that they get to vote, their whole population voting, and here we have 30% of the population voted, and of that 30%, I mean, that's one of our freedoms that I help fight to protect us. So I don't want to go too long getting the presentation.
Guys, really what the intent or the points made through Staff Sergeant Brian Bowman and through County Recorder Rick Campbell is, I mean, the folks that are out there, this is about connecting generations and realizing the sacrifice it's taken to get us to where we are, and make sure we never, ever take that for granted under any circumstance. So, as I say that, the next slide here, the graphics aren't necessarily the best, but it is what it is. The proposed site location, what I'm going to get into, is really the entry point into Schneider Park. Now, I know our Schneider Community Park was developed based upon community feedback and input through a series of meetings and so forth. I also know, in going back through those minutes and those conversations, there were the potential phases for development moving forward. That hillside, anything that could have happened there is abated, because we've determined that was the best place to add our safety center, plus we got the county trip. So what I'm proposing is literally that manicured grassy knoll there, which is approximately 125 feet from about the fourth tree up all the way back, and about 175 foot down, turning that area into the Veterans Memorial. Now you're going, okay, Scott, what's a Veterans Memorial going to consist of? Now, let me note that the graphic that's rendered, I've worked with a gentleman who is at Summit Memorial. He's designed and been heavily involved with most of what's went on out at the Ohio Veterans Memorial Park in Clinton. Now, what we would look is our flagstaff, monument is something similar to what would be depicted with the background. Seven different flagpoles, obviously the U.S. and the Ohio flag, then one for each military division, our Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, Navy, Marine, POW, MIA. So from graphics, you're not going to see a lot of extensive design here, because part of evolving that entire area and to get more folks to buy into this, should our board collectively say, hey, yeah, let's make this happen, is we leverage the school's arts programs. You do a contest where they're designing that, and then, whether it's as a board or with, again, going back to the community for input on the design options, we vote on what's the option to move forward with. That way, again, having vested parties in that interest, you're going to see more of a groundswell to help make this thing become a fruition sooner than later. Because realistically, I know in talking with Ken Noon of Summit Memorial out at the Ohio Veterans Memorial Park, some of you who have been out there, it didn't just happen overnight. It's a culmination of a number of years. This is going to require some longer term focus and dedication. And I'm not asking the board to say, hey, yeah, we're going to commit
bunch of taxpayer dollars here, because we all know I'm one of the squeaky wheels on the board with, you know, money and so forth, but I'm going to talk to vested and interested parties and how we make this vision become a reality. Visual note for obviously anybody who's a veteran in here, and I appreciate some detail that Staff Sergeant Bowman provided me with. Obviously, the carving here, depending upon where the flag's placed, we would ultimately look to change the positioning of one of these, because obviously with the flags on the back side, one of them would be saluting improperly. So maybe an alternative is either changing the positioning, or because when the individual or individual serving leaves and carries the torch of service in defending our country, maybe the other side over here is family that's cut out. And it's a torch of service that's separating the two currently. Ultimately, you know, this would be at the peak of the hill, and then, you know, potentially we could see students incorporating, whether it's a, I don't want to say retention, that's the wrong thing, but a pond that, you know, the water could be pumped right back up to the top, only during the warm months, it'd be shut off in the winter months, but, you know, water's got a calming effect. And, you know, given this is going to be a location of peace, reflection, somberness, that water's also going to help from a functional aspect, mitigate some of the road noise that's out there. Because I have so many thoughts, bear with me if I tend to be referencing my sheets quite a bit. But, you know, say if we do have that waterfall coming down, it'd be gradual. And again, this location is proposed because of ADA access. Originally, when we was looking more back towards the middle of the hill, but it's got a much steeper grade. So, you know, if this is something we would move forward and do, there would be a lot more site prep work, which, you know, would require significant more fundraising through a bunch of different conduits. So the location I'm proposing is very blatant in nature. Outside of the visibility of it that's going to get people's attention, but from a functional aspect for, you know, whether it's your seniors that, you know, hey, it's going to take me a little longer to get up that hill, or there's no way I can go up there, my knee replacement's hurt, or my hip hurts, whatever it may be, all joking aside, you know, it's a relatively flat area, though it's got a little bit of a grade. As you come down that waterfall, then you have potentially a second tier, I would call it a concrete pad, where then we could have brick pavers inlaid, you've got some reflection benches, you know, where you can just sit and, you know, reflect upon the memorial that's in front of you. Ultimately, and how you get up to the memorial, there's some different options. Do we wrap a ribbon around it, just like the yellow ribbon that folks will place on their trees when they have somebody that's, you know, overseas? Or do we have multiple paths that lead up to it, with each path reflecting that of a division of our military? So those are, again, some ideas. This is intended to be very fluid, but it's also intended to serve the purpose of not just, hey, let's plant a seed. This is intended to get the ball rolling. Should my peers think this would be a good addition and an asset to our parks. As well, to keep the natural feel of that park hillside, because, you know, we've got to be cognizant of maintenance and so forth. Right now, it's a higher brush, and obviously we don't want to endure an increase in, you know, maintenance and so forth. But what we could do, in lieu of having just the high grass, is plant that hillside with poppies. The poppy flower is actually a remembrance for lost loved ones, and it's incredibly symbolic. And, you know, having this accentuating the monument while still minimizing the maintenance needs of our hills, it'll instantly help us connect potentially with some of the American Legion posts and the auxiliary posts. Long term, you know, this memorial could evolve no different than it has out in Clinton, or I know one that they're working on in Smithville, to include maybe some different panels and
so forth. And in order to, you know, create the own uniqueness about this or entry points, maybe it's on two entry points, maybe at the trail or through the school's trades programs, you build the equivalent of like a guard standing duty in their shack or their outpost. I mean, this isn't going to be glitz and glamour. It's going to, again, be respectful, somber, and it's going to be, you know, township and countywide asset that allow people to come, connect, and so forth. So that's a little bit of the detail on just what I'm proposing as far as detail. Again, very, very fluid. This is not intended to be Scott Hawes's Veterans Memorial. This is a plain township initiative that I personally want to see a groundswell and be able to come to fruition. That being said, I've asked our Gold Star mothers to join us here tonight because, ironically, when this, you know, idea came to mind, you know, part of it was looking at, you know, what's been done out in Jackson. And, you know, we really, you know, our friends at the parks haven't done too hot of a job on being able to keep anything going. So I saw the opportunity as being one of the community's elected officials to lead the charge here. And I thought it was important for folks who have served or had family that have served and definitely paid that ultimate sacrifice through a loved one to come and talk about what the meaning and the importance and the relevance of this is to not only honoring their service, but to connecting generations. So first what I'd like to do is ask the Dryden to speak, and I know Kathy, you may interject, Kathy Patron, you may interject as well, because I didn't feel I could explain what a Gold Star family is, but I don't have that internal, you know, heartfelt, you know, meaning as compared. So Thea, I'm going to turn it over to you as a Plain Township resident and just ask you literally to speak from your heart as preface for the sake of
I'm not a speaker. I'm Thea. I am a mom of 2 Marines, both Glen Oak graduates. My son is currently serving in the United States Marine Corps out in California. He's a sergeant. My daughter unfortunately lost her life in Iraq in 2008, and she is now guarding the gates of heaven. I want to say that everything he has said, I am for it 100%. I just think it's amazing. A little over a year ago, my friend Kathy and I approached somebody in Plain Local to kind of see about getting something done, and it never materialized. And I was saddened. I was heartbroken. I was like, why doesn't Plain Local want to do something for their veterans, for their fallen? And when I got word a little while back from Brian that Scott wanted to do this, I was like, it's about time that somebody wants to do this for the community and their veterans, and give the veterans a place, give the families of the veterans a place to go, remember them, talk about them, love them, tell their children about maybe a grandfather or somebody they didn't know. I've been to several, because I ride with the Patriot Guard Riders, and I've been to several memorials throughout Northeast Ohio, and it is amazing the people you meet, the wonderful veterans you meet, the Iraq veterans with the Vietnam veterans, and how they just touch each other's lives, and the stories they share and the appreciation, and this one saluting the older one, the older guy saluting the younger guy. I mean, it's just amazing. The World War II veterans, and they do come back to these memorials. They do. I have a memorial run for my daughter. This will be the 3rd year, and when this memorial gets put up, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when, the start of her memorial run will be at that memorial. And people from all over come for her memorial ride. And I would be one of the first ones to buy pavers for my son to honor him, for my daughter to remember her. And I can see other families buying their loved ones benches and pavers and things like that. And like Brian said, it's not just Plain Local, people from all over will be at that memorial. Once they know it's there, they will be there. And I think maybe there's a lot of people in Plain Local, because it's so big, that don't go to the other memorials because maybe they can't. If they have something local, I believe they'll be there. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Kathy, do you have anything you'd like to add? with
Just
respect-
this, Cynthia, stand with me, just that if you build it, they will come.
Yes.
And I can tell you that they will because I'm a resident of Perry Township. I teach at Perry High School, and we have a fabulous Veterans Memorial in front of our high school at Perry. And it is, it's a community gathering place. And probably the most powerful teacher that I have ever had in my entire life actually is my son. And in his death, I've learned so much about myself and the community and people, and they're lessons that I can pass on to my students. I think that having a memorial like that is also a place, it's a place where students gather knowledge. It's not just a place to gather and to cry and shed tears and to remember, but it's a place for our young adults to learn, and we've used that accordingly in Perry Township. So I can just tell you, it's just an amazing gathering place. We have one, and I hope that you will have one as well, because it just has had a powerful and profound impact on our community. So I just think every community needs a gathering place.
I do too.
Thank you, ladies. That being said, being time sensitive before our board meeting, I'll make sure we cover everything in detail. But, grief never ends. It changes. It's a passage. Not a place to stay. Grief's not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It's the price of love. So just some of the initial stuff, and literally, these facts and figures are strictly tied to the picture of that monument you saw, along with two smaller monuments that would be included, along with a series of four benches. The main memorial cost itself that you saw essentially has a 72 by 72 inch base, so 6 by 6, and then it tapers down to 54 by 54, then 36 by 36. Those three keystones. Then that pillar has a 24-inch base, tapers up to 12 inches, where it then fans out. What's on the top? That's not an internal flame. That's a stone. That's a stone that would be gold, done in gold. But outside of that memorial, with the 4 additional benches, which would be 2 polished jet black monuments, including lettering and setting, which would require crane stand over off on the current access roadway and not coming into the ground, just getting it set. $74,000. Now, plus tax, because that will come through, but it depends upon how this is done. Obviously, that would be negligible. What are some of the funding sources so we can help make this come to fruition? There's a number of worthwhile foundations, and trust me, I've researched some of them from North Canton's Memorial down to Canton, and then just knowing what the foundations have been involved with in the past. Corporate and business sponsorship, be guaranteed my name will be on every letter that goes to every business in this community to drum up support. And in fact, I would anticipate, once we identify what those thresholds for sponsorship and so forth are, there's going to be some quick and early buy-in. We'll have to work a little harder on some of them, no different than I know Rick did for our bicentennial, but the parties will be there. Veteran and civic organizations. I know through doing some homework and talking with Staff Sergeant Bowman, a lot of the veterans organizations, whether they do bingo and so forth, they raise money. What we can do is we can take the state's, I think it's the bingo list, or there's a state gaming list, cross-reference that against veterans organizations. We can specifically target them because they have to spend down that money. What better than a Plain Township-based Veterans Memorial for them to contribute to? And then obviously the private donations would be stuff that comes through pavers and benches, which ironically we already have a paver program.
maybe now we can hone that into this specific purpose, because right now, Parks Paver program, we've got a few here or there, but the mission and intent of it's really so broad that, our folks really connecting with it as they would with something like this. We all know somebody who has served in one way, shape, or form. Some of the maintenance, these were just quick obviouses. I really had a hard time not knowing what the final area would look like, what we could get it into, but, with that main platform, the sealing and maintenance of the concrete, even the second tier, it would be the sealing of the concrete. I've reached out actually to even some of the local unions just to see what type of interest they may have. Again, noting that none of this was set in stone. This is a vision that I was presenting. Trust me, guys, I didn't put the cart before the horse and any false expectations, but I thought, the board, after working 5.5 years together, what we're looking at. Vested and interested parties, just so you know who we're talking about. We've got great resources through the schools. There are, this is a chance for these students to develop their portfolios and say, hey, this is something I designed, and then that helps launch them into college. Or likewise, it may be other folks who are at the college level that are wanting to contribute. STEM, from the science and engineering. I know Lisa and Joe have spent time, and what these kids can do is phenomenal. We leverage some of the local universities' architecture programs as well to make sure structurally, design and everything is good. We've got different veterans group, VFW, American Legion. Obviously, we're going to have to talk to Stark Parks with the trail system there, how that could impact our own Plain Township Historical Society. Township Rotary has always been a great partner in our different initiatives. Gold Star Families, Kathy, Thea, and many other that had family that's paid that ultimate price for our freedom. Our Blue Star families, the Steinberg that's here. We got the Buckeye Council, the Boy Scouts of America. We've got Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that are coming, because I know you haven't asked Rob before in the past. We're getting asked for what can we do for projects. Guess what? Maybe each one of those flagpoles is a project. Raise the funds, help get it set, the whole 9 yards. Maybe it's the landscaping of part of this. There's many ways we can collaborate very reasonably and feasibly and still maintain sound control over there. Community foundations, I know Dr. Navelli from the Patriot Project, likewise, has said anything he can do to help or support. That wasn't just this year's salute to veterans, but as well moving forward. Flags of Freedom, another group out of Perry. So, that being said, those are some vested and interested parties. Timetable. What I would like to do to help kick this off, assuming everybody's on the same page. We have our Salute to Veterans event, November 11th this year, where we're doing the breakfast. We got a bunch of different partners and so forth that are going to be coming and hopefully taking advantage of what we're going to offer. At that time, I really would love to see, and I know the naming thing's a sensitive thing because we've been down this road, but all of our parks are always associated with the road they're on. But I'd also like to find a way to incorporate, whether it's Plain Township, Schneider Park, and change it to Plain Township Veterans Park, or maybe it's Plain Township, Schneider Veterans Park, or something. So it's almost the first step is a memorial that, Gold Star families like Thea and Kathy, and Blue Star families like the Steinberg here. No, we're committed, and we're taking those steps. We can't run right out of the gates of crawling, we're starting to walk. And I think that's something that's small and easy to do. And then in 2016, when weather allows, set the initial 7 flagpoles up there that will allow us to fly those, and then we can still leverage additional flags through Rotary and the flags of our fathers that we've done. And then fall 2016, spring of 2017, depending upon how fundraising goes, we set that keystone monument that will be right in front of the flags. Why is that out a little bit? In talking with Ken Noon from Summit Memorial, easily 6 months from the time we would say, yes, we want this memorial, that they've got to procure it, get it shipped here, because the black granite that we would want to use and portray that sharp, pristine image, like we do with all our properties and our parks, it's going to take 6 months to get here. That being said, what's future program use for this? We can be doing the Salute to Troops series. Instead of just doing Veterans Day, we've got Memorial Day, we've got 4th of July, we've got Veterans Day. Again, a community asset. Plain local schools can use it for educational classroom opportunities, like Kathy spoke to. We've got collaboration with Plain Township Rotary on the future flag program. I know you guys have heard me say, wouldn't it be nice to have that hillside pepper with those flags, no different than Jackson had out there. Guess what, it's out there, and those things are lined up no different than the headstones are at Arlington. They're perfectly symmetrical and stuff. That's moving. It's going to get people out. And then, from additional programming in September, a Gold Star Family Celebration. Again, another way to leverage our asset in the parks. In closing, the yellow ribbon, sort of what could be a walking path there. As I wait patiently for your return, the yellow ribbon I do tie for thee. Thoughts and prayers are all well earned, hoping you'll come home to me. If you don't, I'll understand, my eyes I do cry, as I want to see you did what you had to do. In that foreign land, my yellow ribbon I will keep for thee. That's it. I know with respect to time, are there any quick questions or general comments from anybody? No? Okay, Kathy?
Just that my instincts tell me that Plain Township loves its veterans as much as Perry does. All I want to say is build this for the men in here, who served. And as Mr. Campbell said, it's for them, for that reason that we're here tonight. Build it for the children of the Plain Township families who have lost their loved ones. Because, again, I promise you, I can tell you from experience that if you do that, they will come. So I just want to reiterate.
Well, guys, as we move forward, because I know we've got a concert break, I'm going to start a little bit behind. There will be additional communications, whether it be through Facebook and our website, depending upon what and how we move forward. Keep an eye out, because I'm committed to this, one way, shape, or form. As my wife back there can tell you, once I'm focused on something, I appreciate everybody who's made the time and effort to come out this evening, and again, many thanks.